Good evening from the KTN News Center here in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. I am Ben Kitili. KTN Prime begins now. Many thanks for joining us on the broadcast on this 10th day of November 2016. On the broadcast, we have the latest news from around the country and across the globe. Let's take a look at the top stories tonight.
Maana hii ni hasara sasa imekuja, watu wetu wameenda, tuko na kilio kubwa.
At least 6 killed in building tragedy in Kisii town.
It is okay to vote me governor in Kenya and to support the president in Jubilee.
Accepting political realities, Karua declares support for Uhuru ahead of 2017 polls.
Pettiness. Pettiness. Pettiness.
Plus, who is stressing our president when the chief executive gets angry on tonight's Spotlight 2017?
Oh no! Why are you fussing me? Why did you push me? Why did you push me?
And me drunk? What do you mean? Drama of the crackdown on drunk drivers in Nairobi. Welcome to the program. Our sign language interpreter is Maresha Owiti. 6 people have been killed and 31 others critically injured after a 6-story building under construction came tumbling down in Kisii town. A 15-year-old was among those killed in the mid-morning incident, and as KTN News reporter Fred Muturi reports from the county of Kisii, rescue workers are still rummaging through the rubble in hopes of getting survivors out.
The building, which was almost complete, came down in a residential area near Mwalimu Hotel in Kisii town, trapping dozens of people.
Hata sisi tumeshangaa, hatuna la kusema, lakini tunahitaji viongozi wetu walisitize kabisa, waangalie kama wataweza tusaidia, maana hii ni hasara sasa imekuja, watu wetu wameenda, tuko na kilio kubwa.
The injured were rushed to Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital, with the Kenya Red Cross Society area manager Benson Simba saying that at least 10 people were still trapped under the rubble by evening.
Unachua mafundi wengi ikiwa si waaminifu, kwa vile corruption imeingia kila sekta. Unakuta cement inaibwa, inauzwa, sababu unakuta maribu mafundi wanalipwa ni kidogo.
Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital CEO Dr. Enokondari said those admitted in the hospital were in stable condition.
Kuna corruption nyingi sana. Sasa vile imeanguka hapa, unaweza pata county engineer pata kuna anashughulika waone vile watafanya, ndio sasa aepukane hii maneno.
So far tumejaribu kuokoa wale tumeokoa, wengine bado tunajaribu kuokoa, bado wamekuwa trapped inside the building, na tunafanya vile tuwezalo tuhakikishe kwamba tumeokoa maisha. Maisha ndio tunataka kuokoa zaidi kuliko kitu kingine yote. Vitu vingine vyote vitafuata baadaye.
Eyewitnesses said that at least 30 construction workers were at the site when the building collapsed.
Vyuma viko ni kidogo. Badala ya nikiona ile nyumba ingetumika vyuma kama wa 16, lakini wa 12 ndio imetumika hapo kwa wingi, ambapo iwezi beba uzito wa hiyo nyumba pamoja na watu ambao watakuwa wanaishi hapo.
A survivor of the incident, also a worker at the site, said that they were plastering the house when it collapsed.
Lakini sasa kitu yenye inatumiza kabisa, unapata engineer mwenye anasimamia nyumba, yeye anakuja tu anakusanya pesa naenda. Atake kuchua nyumba inachengwa aje, simiti inaekwa aje, machuma zinatumika ni gani. Yeye ni kukuja tu angalie siku moja, apewe pesa yake aende.
Ambulances from the Kisii County government had a rough time accessing the scene as residents thronged to the area, hampering the rescue mission. Fred Muturi, KTN News, Kisii.
We are keeping on developments from the county of Kisii. In politics, NARC Kenya leader Martha Karua has shocked her friends in the opposition by declaring she will support President Uhuru Kenyatta in his 2017 re-election bid. Karua has said she has never been part of the opposition coalition CORD, nor does she have anything to do with the envisioned National Opposition Super Alliance. Karua is planning to run for governorship in Kirinyaga next year, says her supporters have told her she must support Uhuru Kenyatta if she wants their backing. She was speaking in Kirinyaga after a consultative meeting with Kenya delegates from Gishuku.
I will not be in the presidential race. My people know where they want to cast their vote, and I'm telling them, yes, it is okay to vote me governor in Kenya and to support the president in Jubilee. Yeah, there's no contradiction. I'm not a member of any alliance. Even when we worked as opposition, we always emphasized that Kenya was a friend of the opposition. We never joined any coalition. And Kenya already made a decision to go to the polls as Kenya. So we are not part of any alliance, and we will not be fielding a presidential candidate. That's the decision of Kenya.
So the Kenya leader Martha Karua is joining the race for, has joined the race for the governorship of Kirinyaga alongside former Devolution Secretary Anne Waiguru, of course, in a bid to oust the sitting governor Joseph Ndadi. That is a conversation that has continued to elicit different reactions from Kenyans of different walks of life. We're asking in our big question discussion, do you think Kirinyaga County would support Martha Karua if she did not back Uhuru Kenyatta? What do you think? Tell us what you think. SMS your yes, no opinion to our studio line 22155. You can also tweet us. Tweet me at Ben_Kitili, at KTN News, at KTN Kenya. The hashtag is KTN Prime. We shall be seeking to sample some of your comments. Speaking of elections, the search for a new electoral team to oversee the 2017 general election has attracted huge interest, with a record 765 applicants seeking to be commissioners of the IEBC. 13 people have applied for the position of chairman. But who are these people that want this very challenging job? Rita Tinina now reports.
With the resignation of the IEBC chairman and commissioners following the enactment of amendments to the IEBC Act, the exercise to replace the Isaac Hassan team has attracted huge interest. 13 applicants are seeking to become IEBC chairman, while a record 765 people want to serve as commissioners of the IEBC. High Court Judge Anyara Emukule, devolution expert Dr. Mutaha Kangu, National Police Service Commissioner member Murshid Abdallah, former Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission member Margaret Shava, Roslyn Odede, a board member of the Judges and Magistrates Vetting Board, security analyst Andrew Franklin, and advocates David Mereka and David Malakwen are among the 13 seeking chairmanship of the IEBC. Others in the list of 765 people who are eyeing the position of commissioner of the IEBC include former Transition Authority Chairman Kinuthia Wamwangi, former PS Philemon Mwaisaka, human rights activist Cyprian Nyamwamu, lecturer and author Kithaka Wamberia, Immaculate Kasait, the IEBC Director for Voter Registration, former Independent Policing Oversight Authority Board member Tom Kagwe, Industrialization Principal Secretary Wilson Songa, Polycarp Ochilo, a former National Anti-Corruption Steering Committee Director, former Ambassador to Russia Paul Krugat, former Permanent Representative of Kenya to the United Nations Office in Geneva, Ambassador John Kakonga, and Reverend Julius Karanja of the National Council of Churches of Kenya. The IEBC selection panel is now set to begin the process of shortlisting the candidates before conducting interviews for those shortlisted. The panel will then pick 2 people for the position of IEBC chair and 9 for the position of IEBC commissioner and forward the names to President Uhuru Kenyatta. The president will nominate 1 person for appointment as chair and 6 for appointment as commissioners. The president will then forward the names to the National Assembly for approval. The National Assembly will in turn hand the names back to the president for gazettement. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
There was drama last night when several motorists were cornered by traffic police and officials from the National Transport and Safety Authority NTSA for driving under the influence of alcohol. The crackdown was carried out in various parts of Nairobi, including Langata Road and Madaraka area. Officers complained that the 30,000 Kenya shillings fine slapped on motorists who refused to take the alcohol tests is too lenient and needs to be increased.
Kiendelea hivyo.
Mimi sijui, wewe nifunze.
Nakwambia hivi. Yako ni 0.61. Mukora Walter.
Yes.
Si ndio, simwachane na mimi kwanza niongee on the phone. Okay, we have other issues to take care of. Si ni sawa. Sijakata. No. Why are you forcing me? Why did you push me? Why did you push me? Why did you push me? It's against my rights. Why did you push Singi?
Hii gari haitawasha. Hapana, si utakuja kuzima.
Elsewhere, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, his wife Melania Trump have met President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama at the White House as the preliminary steps begin for the power transition. The meeting took place even as tens of thousands of Americans in various cities held demonstrations to protest Trump's surprise. So today, the President Barack Obama did meet the President-elect Donald Trump at the White House as that process of transition begins. Now, let me take you through what will happen in the next 2 months or so. The election of a U.S. president does not end on election day. So let's go to the first place. That is election day, where Americans, this time more than 128 million, went to the polls to elect their preferred candidates. And even though they did choose their preferred candidate, they did not participate directly in electing the president. That brings me to who does the election. That is the Electoral College, a phenomenon that has been thorn in the flesh for many non-Americans. Electoral College, that is electors across the states who choose or cast a ballot for the presidential candidate that has managed to garner the most amount of votes in that particular state. Different states have different amounts, different numbers of those Electoral College votes. Now, in mid-November, there will be something called the certification, where each state's governor will officially declare the winning candidate by creating what is called a certificate of ascertainment, and this will be sent to Congress and as well as the National Archives as part of the official election records. Now, in December, there will be a meeting of the electors who will vote. That is on December 19th. The vice president, the results will be recorded and sent to the president, to the Senate, and the archivist, as well as the state election authorities. That is by December 28th. And still in December, this is in January. That is when there will be the announcement of those results by the vice president. Vice President, this time Joe Biden, will be in charge of that vote and will preside over the count of those votes by the Electoral College and announce the result. The President of the Senate will declare the winner, the President. That is Donald Trump. That is a formality, by the way, because this has already been done. Then this brings us to the final step. That is on January 20th, 2017. That will be the inauguration of Donald Trump as President and Mike Pence as Vice President of the United States. This is an official ceremony that will be presided over by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Both leaders will take their oaths of office. So even as the White House staff continue to, come to terms with the loss of Hillary Clinton of the election, the West Wing is very busy right now preparing for that transition between the Obama presidency and the Trump presidency. That will be happening in the next 2 months or so. Very busy time for Americans. Back here in the country, Cabinet Secretary Cleopa Milo and his Principal Secretary Nicholas Muraguri jointly appeared before a parliamentary committee to answer to queries on the alleged loss of billions at the Ministry of Health. The two appeared before the National Assembly's Health Committee, once again appeared to contradict each other, raising more questions than answers. Timothy Otieno was following the proceedings for us.
Health Cabinet Secretary Cleopa Mailu and Principal Secretary Nicholas Muraguri for the first time appeared side by side before the National Assembly's Health Committee, seeking to shed more light on alleged misappropriation of funds at the Ministry of Health. And here it appeared blame would quickly be shifted by the two to the internal auditor Bernard Mushere, whom they said did not conduct a thorough assessment of financial records in his report.
When you are preparing vouchers, I thought before payments are made, the internal auditor is supposed to be part and parcel of the system. At what stage does he also become now to play the oversight role?
Usually there is a role which they play, but on a day-to-day basis, every payment, in my view, does not pass through the internal audit department.
The committee once again raising queries concerning 100 portable clinics purchased by the ministry, 99 of which were still lying idle at the Mombasa port.
What caused the ministry to pay for goods which are still at Mombasa and they have not yet reached their final destinations?
They are portable clinics. And the ground which is being prepared, you make a slab because they will be placed on a slab. You bring water, electricity, and other social amenities, and then hopefully we do some prefab building for the staff who are going to use them.
You have a budget, isn't it, that you are working with? So how much is it costing you to prepare those grounds? Okay, in total then, for all the 100?
The final assessment is still being finalized because we are also still debating with some members of parliament on the location of some of the sites.
So that means they are not mobile clinics, because if they are mobile, they should be deployable at short notice to any ground, anywhere in Kenya, wherever they are needed.
The two are in trouble over allegations that up to 3.1 billion shillings was looted through diversion of funds and double payments of goods and services under their watch.
Of payment.
They insisted that the audit was interim and that due process had been followed by those concerned. The committee evaluated the alleged diversion of funds meant for free maternity to other sectors without Parliament's approval. 889 million shillings from that kitty is believed to have gone to payments to various suppliers without the necessary approvals in a meticulous manner as part of the alleged multi-billion shilling scam.
Issues have been raised here, and I want to say the basic principle. If all these educated people and these Kenyans don't stick to the truth, Kenyans cannot move. Kenyans will die. Kenyans will die. If all of us here, both sides, cannot stick to and stand by the truth at any cost.
The committee prematurely cut short its session after the cabinet secretary said he was not feeling well and needed medical assistance.
The committee will remain for a few minutes.
The legislators now plan to head to Mombasa to probe the utilization of the mobile clinics that still remain at the port, with a final audit report into the matter expected to come from the ministry in a week's time. Timothy Otieno, KTN News.
On our big question tonight, we are talking politics. We are asking you, do you think Kirinyaga County would support Martha Karua if she did not back Uhuru Kenyatta? Remember, she has declared she will back Uhuru in his 2017 re-election bid. Solomon Ambuku says, yes, Martha Karua has not abandoned CORD, nor joined Jubilee. Moham Ogeni 6-2 that says, no, Miss Martha Karua has done what we expected to save her political career. Keep those texts and tweets coming. We are taking a quick commercial break here on KTN Prime. Don't go too far. Welcome back. This is KTN Prime. So is President Uhuru Kenyatta more agitated than usual in his speeches these days, or is he just being more open about the stresses of his office? If he is indeed under too much pressure, should Wanjiku, that is the ordinary citizen, be allowed to see and listen to the president in such stressful moments? This is the focus of tonight's episode of Spotlight 2017 with KTN News senior political reporter Duncan Haimba.
both in times of plenty and of want.
When he took over the presidency, he painted a picture of a cool, calm and collected chief executive. Nearly every public appearance was a statement on its own, with many crediting President Uhuru Kenyatta as a humble leader who had demystified the once dreaded office of the presidency. Fun and light moments were part of his signature, but 48 months later, is something amiss with the president's temperament?
That is his thinking. You know, you must understand a man and his thinking. Backwardness, pettiness, you know? Yeah? Pettiness. Yeah? Jameni. Eh? Kwa sababu hataki kuona mbele, hataki, hawezi ashindane na wale ambao wanaangalia mbele. Hawezi ashindane na wale ambao wataka maendeleo. Hawezi ashindane na wale ambao wanataka umoja. He thrives in division and in poverty.
3 weeks ago, it was a similar occurrence when State House hosted a Governance and Accountability Summit, where the president gave a dressing down to holders of independent constitutional offices, accusing them of frustrating the war against corruption. In fact, he even went after the Auditor General for entertaining the idea of pursuing the Eurobond investigations in the United States.
When we go out there and we say Eurobond money was stolen and is stashed in the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, are you telling me that the Treasury and the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States have colluded? Any mjinga ni nani? Surely. That the Kenyan government and the US government have colluded. Na huyu anasema anataka kwenda interrogate Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Guy, anyway. You know, you sit back and you ask yourself, are we being serious with what we are doing?
In September, during the burial of former cabinet minister, the late William Timama, the president uncharacteristically tore into a church leader who in his address had asked the government to prioritize national cohesion to stop further polarization of the country. And just like others, he was dealt with on the spot by the seemingly enraged president.
Kuna bishop mwingine hapa, sijui ni nani, lakini nataka tujuane, ambaye amesema umoja mbele ya maendeleo. Mimi nataka nikuambie bishop, kwa sababu wewe unataka uongoze roho, lakini kuongoza roho lazima pia uongoze maisha ya watu. Umoja ni kitu muhimu sana. Na mimi naungana na wale wote ambao wanasema tuwe na umoja ya Wamasai, tuwe na umoja ya Wakenya. Naungana na hawa sana. Lakini kusema umoja bila maendeleo, hiyo ni ujinga ya mwisho.
Some analysts believe the president's seeming impatience with perceived detractors began earlier in his administration. On October 9th, 2014, immediately after returning from the Hague-based International Criminal Court, where he had been summoned to appear, the president castigated civil society, whose leaders he termed as unpatriotic Kenyans.
And we will not join the ranks of you ambao mnaenda kulamba matako ya wengine kule. Ndio upatiwe pesa. Na kazi yako ni kwenda kutukana nchi yako, kutukana serikali yako.
A section of opposition leaders see this as a sign of an overwhelmed presidency.
Nafikiri jikoni imekuwa moto sana. Walikuwa wanalia sana juu ya baba yangu Raila. Sema amefanya namna hii, amefanya namna ile. Hawa nataka kujulisha hawa ya kwamba kazi ya kukosoa serikali ni kazi ya Raila. Hana kazi nyingine.
According to communication expert and political analyst Barak Muluka, The tirade the president is engaging in doesn't augur well for the office he holds.
When you ask for the office of president, you are not asking to be sent on a picnic. You are asking to be given the opportunity to shoulder the nation's burdens, and you must demonstrate the capacity to shoulder them with calmness, with equanimity.
According to Article 131, Section 1E of the Constitution, the president is identified as a symbol of unity and as such mandated to act in such a manner that promotes national unity.
But some of the pronouncements that the president makes tend to make some people feel alienated.
Deputy President William Ruto also seems to have taken a cue from his boss. On Sunday, standing right in the middle of the church, he tore into former devolution CS Anne Waiguru.
Mama anafanya hapa kwa saloon. Aende arejista kampuni 20 siku moja, aende apatiwe kandarasi, alipwe milioni karibu inafika bilioni. Yeye mwenyewe anasema mimi nilikuwa napepa pesa hii mamilioni kwa gunia kama viazi. Really? Alafu mnatuambia mnatembea hapo kuongea Kiingereza mingi ati unajua sasa imekuwa imeenda ikarudi. Hiyo ni maneno gani hiyo? Wacheni upuzi bana.
Some experts now say the outburst may be in direct contravention of the constitutional provisions on leadership and integrity under Article 73, Section 1A, subsection 2 and 3, which states, authority assigned to a state officer is a public trust to be exercised in a manner that demonstrates respect for the people and brings honor to the nation and dignity to the office they hold.
They tend to diminish the stature of the office of the president, of the presidency in the public eye, like when there's a spat between the deputy president and a disgraced former cabinet secretary. There's something totally amiss, and their handlers perhaps need to talk to them again and advise them that they need to exercise their public appearances with more composure, more decorum.
Wacha media waseme vile wanataka kusema. They would be bothered about small things, my friend.
After all, when all is said and done, remember this.
Yale ambayo tunasoma ni ya upuzi. Kwa hivyo vile nilisema ya kwamba gazeti ni ya kufunga nyama ni sawa. Tuendelee namna hiyo.
Duncan Hemba, KTN.
Welcome back. You're watching KTN Business. We start off with a story from the Nairobi Securities Exchange, where the Central Depository and Settlement Corporation, CDSC, today unveiled its new brand as the company seeks to entrench its position in the money markets. According to the organization, its new look, its embodiment of the confidence that it has achieved the key objectives for which it was established, having automated the clearing and settlement of transactions of the exchange, having reduced and even eliminated systemic risks associated with manual operations, and having upgraded the clearing, delivery and settlement functions in line with international best practice. Riding on its new positioning and the tagline, invested in progress, CDSC will seek to implement its robust strategic plan covering 2016 to 2020.
We are looking at product diversification to ensure that we are able to serve multiple products and multiple markets by leveraging on technology and service excellence.
To ensure that the financial sector is able to achieve its role as set out under the vision, we are undertaking a number of reforms in the financial sector, and these include, first, putting in place the necessary legal and institutional infrastructure to make Nairobi a regional financial hub, and in particular, to operationalize the Nairobi International Financial Center.
Moving on, the Institute of Human Resource Management has launched a new curriculum, the Certified Human Resource Professional Examination curriculum that will guide HR professionals starting 2017. This technically means all HR professions in the country actually will be required to take the Certified Human Resource Professional Examination, and upon successful completion, earn the title of CHRP-K, an equivalent of CPA-K for accountants. The Certified Human Resources Professional Examination will be developed and managed by IHRM.
Without clear body of knowledge of what you have done, without clear influence within the national economy, then your voice will somehow not be heard by many. It's only what value will the HR profession bring to the economy, the Kenyan economy, that will make HR professionals to be identified.
Indeed, HR professionals there on the spot. Well, are you in the broadcast business or plan to get in? Well, television broadcasters will pay lower monthly signal distribution fees following a downward review by the industry regulator, Communications Authority of Kenya. Under the new rates, broadcasters will pay 89,545 shillings per megabit per month for signal distribution within Nairobi and its environs, down from the current 125,990 shillings, translating into a 29% reduction. The cost of distributing digital signals in other major towns will come down by 60% to 37,311 shillings from the previous 93,202 shillings. Well, scientists, environmentalists and players in the agricultural sector have raised concerns over the future of climate change and global warming campaigns with the election of Donald Trump as the 45th president-elect of the United States of America. Trump is on record dismissing global warming as the concept created by and for the Chinese in order to make U.S. manufacturers non-competitive. The shift in Washington comes just as the United States has been assuming a leadership role in combating climate change, and it will almost certainly upend the world's efforts to curb the impact of global warming. About 40 Kenyan travel and hospitality trade stakeholders were among the over 5,000 tourism trade exhibitors at the just concluded World Travel Market in London. The Kenyans were part of the annual pilgrimage to the market for stakeholders who are meeting to discover and negotiate the latest travel industry trends and opinions at the WTM, one of the largest tourism fair in the world. The Kenyan delegation has been riding on the positive news that Kenya has recorded in the recent past, including key alternatives and events and high-profile personalities that the country has hosted to profile the destination, leading to a 17.2% growth in arrivals in 2015. Well, and on that note, that's how we wrap up KTN Business. My name is Abi Agina. Let's do this tomorrow as we bring you the most qualified business news in the region. I leave you now with the day's financial report.
Welcome back. You're watching KTN Prime. Let's take a look at what's happening in the world of sports. This year's CAS International Marathon will be held on the 20th of this month in Eldoret. That is Sunday, next Sunday but one. The marathon that is targeting over 6,000 athletes was launched on Thursday in Nairobi. All eyes will be on last year's champions, Albert Korir and Valerie Jameli, who will be looking to defend their titles during this year's CAS Marathon. Registration for the biggest international race from the North Rift is ongoing, and the organizers have promised an even bigger and better marathon this year. Marathon will be celebrating its 10th year, and organizers feel they have exceeded expectations. Winners of the marathon have gone on to bag international accolades. KTN News will be televising the proceedings live from the county of Uasin Gishu.
Particular race, and continue to share our commitment that it is indeed a venture that we are proud.
Not only the
the improvement of marathon performance for this country in the world. But we've also changed lives economically in that region. We're doing our own estimate that at the end of this race this year, we'll have contributed, all of us, inclusive of you as partners, more than 100 million shillings in prize money, which have changed lives of all those guys who participated and won that race.
I've seen young people, if you look for the last 10 years, the performance of the Kenya athletes, particularly on the marathon front, has been something of phenomena. Every event, no major events, if you look at entirely all events, and there have been a continuous growth on marathons. And this is where money is. So I want to believe that from an economic point of view, we have created wealth indirectly.
The Nairobi County bragging rights will be on the land when West Conference heavyweights, Technical University of Kenya, took battle it out with the East Conference powerhouse Jericho All-Stars in the finals of the first season of the Sportpesa Super 8 Champions League on Sunday at the Nyayo National Stadium. Took, who were managed by Lucas Aluoch, edged Kawangware United 3-1 in the last 16 before overpowering Melta Kabiria 5-4 in the semi-final and have a daunting task against red-hot Jericho. But Coach Aluoch is adamant that his boys are in good condition mentally and physically. Says never. That's a JP stronghold, and that's highly dictates their choice of candidates for any office. Isa Hassan tweets, I think what Karua is saying is that for her to get into governorship she needs to be aligned with Jubilee. Kusino Chando says yes, by supporting Kenyatta she has won hearts of many electorates in Kirinyaga. Final one here from Joseph Gino says, a man from our tribe syndrome, she had to do the obvious. Louis Bundi Tony says no, Kenyan politics is mostly decided on tribal lines. Kirinyaga people cannot vote in the opposition. Many thanks for participating in our big question discussion, for your tweets and text. And thank you for watching KTN Prime. I'm Ben Kitili. Good night from Nairobi.